Now, in order to achieve inclusive growth, good jobs must come with decent pay. So we must grow the incomes of all Singaporeans, particularly those at the lower end, so that all Singaporeans can enjoy the opportunity to a better quality of life, both for themselves and for their families. I think we have done reasonably well. Real median income gains averaged about 2% per annum. This is real income gains. That means after compensating for inflation, 2% per annum in the last 5 years, from 2006 to 2011. Again, it's important to look at this in the context of how economies around the world are doing, where wages, income levels have largely stagnated or even declined in many places. And this increase in income is not just confined to the middle end or the upper end, but it has also been quite pronounced for the lower end incomes as well. Recently, we all have been reading today's papers as well, the ongoing discussion about the need for a wage restructuring, a wage revolution to close the income gap in Singapore. Let me be quite clear. The fact is, we all want to uplift the wages of the low-wage workers, especially at the lower end. What seems clear to me is that in spite of the economic difficulties of the last decade, our economic approach, while not perfect, has not been too bad. We have provided good employment for Singaporeans for many years. Good economic growth has also enabled us as a country to provide for our people and our nation at large. And at the same time, as highlighted slightly earlier, income has grown, especially for low income groups as well. But we are, I think, rightfully, and we should be unhappy at the levels of our low-wage earners. We have said it before, some of the wages earned within certain sectors are quite unacceptable. And we are, and have been talking about it, and many of you here have been working on it as well, for quite a while. How do we uplift the wages for our low-wage workers? So we intend to address this quite robustly, but we need to also do it sensibly, so that we do not also, at the same time, adversely affect our economy, because that can happen. And when that is affected, you can also in turn affect all Singaporeans and workers as well. So let us tread carefully. Economic restructuring doesn't come just by raising wages alone. It requires a range of reforms, initiatives to boost productivity, something which we are doing quite earnestly, and to increase the quality of workforce, for example, through the very extensive efforts we put in CET, or continuation education training, and to make sure that we are able to move up the value chain in the goods and services that we produce, in the jobs that we create for our people. So this will ensure that Singapore, as a nation, remains relevant in a very competitive world market, and this in turn allows jobs to continue to be grown in Singapore. One key thrust of our efforts is to make sure that we help companies improve their productivity and move into more productive and higher value-added sectors. So MOM will work and continues to work quite extensively and intimately with MTI to spearhead this. For example, WDA has helped companies build up their productivity capabilities through many courses, schemes, and also the sharing of know-how. We also need to help our workers pick up relevant skills to take on better and more productive jobs. The government has over the years invested quite a lot of time, effort, money to make sure that CET system works and to make sure it's as extensive as possible and to make sure that it is always relevant for our workers. Meaning that you don't just create courses for its own sake, but to make sure that these courses make sense for the workers. It doesn't always start off perfectly. There will be always courses that will need adjustments, but we continue to take on board the feedback quite seriously, and we continue to tweak the courses. And the feedback from those who have taken part in the courses, not just during the course itself, but after they've left the course, are strong indicators that we are on the right track. So this CET framework allows our workforce to remain well-skilled, well-trained, and this enables them and their companies to stay ahead of the game. And again, this will help with the employment landscape in Singapore. Now, low-wage workers need additional help to boost their income and productivity. Our workfare schemes, for example, the Workfare Income Supplement, or WIS, the Workfare Training Support, or WTS, are two very good solutions that we have come up with to help low-wage workers. while ensuring that we maintain the work ethic, which remains important, and to be at the same time fiscally prudent. This has worked well, and we have taken on board, I think, many useful lessons learned. So we will comprehensively review these two workfare schemes next year. Now, aside from providing direct financial support, we will also tighten the regulatory frameworks for the cleaning and security sectors so that workers in these sectors can enjoy better employment terms. We will continue to identify sectors where low-wage workers are concentrated and consider targeted interventions. So helping low-wage workers isn't just about wages alone, but involves restructuring the economy, it involves enforcement, it also involves regulatory actions which can take place. So it's a combination of different efforts that we must put in and we must continue to plug away at in order to make a difference for this sector. Now, life expectancies is increasing. As our population ages as well, there's a pressing need to make sure that Singaporeans are self-reliant and financially independent in their old age. When the CPF was introduced in 1st July 1955, retirement age at that stage was about 55 years old. How old do you think we were expected to live to at that stage? Basically, for another 7 years, because in 1955, life expectancy was about 62. In 1997, when the minimum sum scheme was introduced, life expectancy was about 75. So for those of you here, well, I don't think there are any here today who are 65, you will be expected to live to about 85. So for those of you who are younger, I think health care continues to improve. Nutrition, although too much nutrition can have detrimental effects as well, but life expectancy will increase beyond the age of 85. It is not trivial. I don't know whether you're happy or sad when you hear this, but we will be living longer. This is not to guarantee everyone will live longer, but on average, most of us will live longer. And we need to cater for our retirement needs. So basically, two-pronged approach. One, we need to make sure that there is lifelong employability opportunities for Singaporeans so that for those who want to work, there are those who need to work, and those who feel that it's important to continue working, the opportunities are there for them to continue to do so, and in the process, continue to add on and to improve their financial security for the long term. Secondly, we want to make sure that Singaporeans are able to accumulate savings for their retirement needs. So an aging workforce is a demographic reality that we have to face and employers should embrace, and to make sure that older workers become an important feature in your workforce. In any case, it is probably useful to do that as we tighten our controls on the number of foreign workers here as well. Now, to encourage employers to attract and retain older workers, as you all are aware, as of this year, we have introduced the Retirement and Re-employment Act, or the RRA. So far, implementation actually has been quite smooth, so we'll be quite happy, but we continue to track the situation, we continue to get feedback, and we'll see how to tweak the system along the way. The government has also announced the Special Employment Credit in 2011, and we have also improved on it this year. So the SEC will now benefit nearly 350,000 workers, which is about 80% of older Singaporean workers, and it will be in place for the next 5 years until 2016. Now, while remaining employed is one critical step towards ensuring retirement adequacy, we must also continually refine our CPF scheme to boost the retirement savings of older Singaporeans. So the CPF system has been a key pillar of our social security system for a long time. Singaporeans has enjoyed the CPF system for many years, has evolved from a simple savings scheme into a fairly comprehensive social security system, which has helped not only provide us for retirement, but also for housing and healthcare needs. CPF Life evolved from the minimum sum scheme. Singaporeans are living longer, and a growing proportion of Singaporeans will run out and outlive their CPF savings if they remain on the minimum sum scheme. So CPF Life is a timely adjustment that will provide a lifetime of payouts as long as one lives. Another recent change is an increase in CPF in contribution for older workers. Now, a few years ago, we decreased this largely to encourage employers to employ older workers. because there wasn't a climate where employment was particularly positive. But this has changed and it's improved. So it is also therefore timely to increase the CPF contribution for older workers, and it ties in well with our efforts to raise retirement ages and to encourage Singaporeans to work longer. So we will, as we go on, continue to review and to refine our CPF system to make sure that we remain relevant for Singaporeans.